this morning with us. It's really good to have you come out and support this cause and help us to raise awareness for autism. Um, Let me introduce myself. I'm Shalina Calenda, and it's really an honor to be here today. My representation is threefold. Firstly, I am volunteering with my cousin, who is the head of this organization, Angelina Bisfati. Secondly, I partner with the organization through my business, Shelly's Handmade. And thirdly, but by no means least, I'm here on behalf of Eldorado Offshore, who is one of our sponsors today. So welcome once again, and we'll get right into our program. This morning we have a couple of special people with us, and I just want to say welcome firstly to the Honorable Minister, Dr. Frank Anthony, who is graced us with his presence. And welcome also to Dr. Hardat Prasad, resident pediatrician at Woodlands Hospital. Welcome to all you walkers, tutors, volunteers, sponsors, and we'll just go straight into our little program. Before I hand you over to the Honorable Dr. Frank Anthony, let me just give you a little bit on him. A highly successful resident-oriented healthcare executive with a master's in public health from Hebrews University in Jerusalem and a medical degree from Friendship University in Moscow, Russia. He served in a rigorous high-level position in the Ministry of Health, including the past executive director of the Health Sector Development Unit. And so without further ado, I'll hand you over to Dr. Frank Anthony for him to give you a few words this morning.
Thank you very much. Good morning, everybody. My friend here, Dr. Hardat Prasad, other distinguished ladies and gentlemen, and of course, the children who are here with us this morning. I'm very pleased to join you this morning as we celebrate Autism Awareness Month. And I think this is one of the areas that we haven't done quite a lot of work, and we need to do more work in terms of highlighting the issues surrounding autism. I want to, first of all, commend all of you, because I think over the last year or two, we've started to see much more visibility, and this is very important. I recall many years ago, where when someone was diagnosed, and at that time people weren't even certain whether it was autism, but if a child was different, then I think families felt that there was a shame, and very often they would lock that child away in their home. And sometimes people don't even see them because people felt this was a shame on their family. I think we have evolved from that, and we need to get people to understand that children who are different or uniquely different, what we need to do is to be able to screen early, be able to pinpoint those telltale signs, and once we can do that, then there are interventions that are possible. Now, because of the individualized attention that is needed, we have to develop an even more comprehensive network of people who can support these patients. Right now, we are now starting. We don't have all the different specialities, but I'm sure with the enthusiasm that you have shown, with the volunteers who are here, that we can work on programs that can educate more people and bring not just awareness, but bring a level of expertise that is absolutely necessary if we are going to manage children and manage them better. It is good if we identify them early and work with them early, because then they have a better chance of having better outcomes later in life. From the ministry perspective, we have started some classes at the Talmurid. We now have a classroom where we can accommodate maybe about 30 or so students. And I know we have persons dropping the students off, they spend the day with us, and we work with them. And we are going to continue to see how we can expand that level of service, but it's something that I think is very important. Also, maybe what some people don't know, or maybe you all know, we also have two child psychiatrists on staff. So if there's need for consultation, then we have those two persons that are available in Georgetown, but we've started to work out a program where we can send them out to different areas at the health centers or the hospital, so that those persons who need those specialized types of consultation can get those consultation. And just a couple months ago, we have been talking to different people who have expertise in training, and hopefully we'll be able to get more persons coming in to offer training, and therefore maybe more volunteers can be trained, and other professionals as well. So we're not there yet in terms of the services that we are providing, but I think with our combined efforts, we can provide better services to the children who really need these services. So I want to once again thank you for lifting the issue up in the national consciousness, because this is very important. A lot of times, if we don't do that, it often goes ignored. So I think you're on the right path. You're raising awareness, and from that, we have to work now to improve services and get other things done. I want to say to you that maybe next year when you do these walks, the ministry would like to come on board with you. So include us so that we can join you and see what else we can do. I know through Dr. Hardat, this year we helped a little bit, not much, a little bit, in terms of getting some publicity and talking about autism on the television and so forth. But I think we need to combine our efforts, because together there's so much more that we can do. So once again, congratulations to all the organizers. I think you deserve a big round of applause. You did a splendid job. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Anthony. And I want to emphasize and champion Dr. Anthony's emphasis on collaboration. And my vision, and I know Angelina's vision, and all the tutors and organizers and members of the Sameir's Uniquely School want to see this awareness be raised so bigger and better. And I applaud Dr. Anthony for bringing that out today, and we definitely look forward to partnering with the ministry in 2024. I'll go right into our second speaker, Dr. Hardat Prasad. With over 30 years experience, Dr. Hardat is a practicing pediatrician currently at Woodlands Hospital. He studied at Patrice Lumumba People's Friendship University in Russia, and he's a pediatrician. There is a very, very long word that I will not embarrass myself by trying to pronounce, but the doctor may mention it when he speaks. So without further ado, I'll hand you over to Dr. Hardat for him to have a few words with you this morning.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Minister. Thank you for coming out. I'll be brief because you guys must be tired and hungry. What I would like to say, as a pediatrician for 30 years, I used to see autism or cases of autism like once a year in my practice. And then at this point, I'm seeing about 2 per month. So we've gone 10, 12-fold. Now, I don't only believe that we are better at diagnosing the condition. I just believe there's an increased incidence. We're not allowed to use the word epidemic because this is not a sickness per se. It's biodiversity. It is just a variant of the neuronal structure of the brain. And I know sometimes we get confused as to whether to call the neurodiverse person a patient or not in terms of medical, but it's a gray zone. Just remember that these persons or the people on the spectrum, children on the spectrum, they have both disabilities in the sense of social interactive skills and communication skills. Like Sameir, for example. I've known Sameir since he was a baby. And Sameir is 23 and he's 20 and he's averbal. I mean, we had early intervention in him, but still, he's averbal. So he has to use a computer to express his thoughts. So while they are children who are high functioning, so as to speak, like my friend over here was, they still have, they need help. And this is where we come in as care providers. We need early intervention. And that is why the Pediatric Association of Guyana sponsored a online continuous medical education session for doctors, because we have a huge number of doctors now, medical practitioners, general practitioners, and we need for them to start seeing the red flags very early, because early intervention means quite a lot. I don't have to go into detail on that. So our work is cut out for us. We are glad that we have so much support from friends, family, the ministry. We are twofold. One, we have to develop the talents that these children have and they're displaying, and make them more socially able to integrate into society, jobs, tasks, right? We are guilty of huddling around them and shutting them in and overprotecting them. We need for them to be exposed, to get little part-time jobs and to get hobbies and to go out and mix with the other children. That's on one side. So we need special training for them. And although no two autistic child will be the same, as my friend Mr. Gonzalez said, if you have 5 children with autism in a class, you basically need 5 teachers because they need individual attention. However, what I'm saying is that we need to look at these children and be able to adapt the environment to suit them. You know, when we were small and you get a big pair of shoes, you used to stick some newspaper in front, right? And wear the shoe. Well, this is something like that. When we have a child who's differently able or neurodiverse, we have to create the environment. We have to shape the environment to adapt for that child. That's on one hand. The children who have who don't have social skills and communication skills, we have to help them in terms of care, because many children do not, by way of communication, they do not get the lessons of life. For example, social danger. I remember one grandmother was telling me, Doc, since this baby was diagnosed, the parents left the child with me. Not in a way that they abandoned, they had to go on with their lives. And she was very happy for the grant that the ministry, that the government gave to these children, because she said that this kid is very bright. He goes to Swami school. He's a top student. But anybody can pick him up on the street and take him away. He doesn't have that sense of social danger. Any taxi can pull up and take him, kidnap him, as such. So she's very happy for the grant because she's able to pay for transportation, somebody particular to pick him up and take him to school. And her mind is at ease. So I don't want to go on and on and on. I just would like to say thank you very much for coming out, for supporting, and we are going to multiply this effect that we had today. I think this is the biggest walk we ever had, right? Okay, thank you very much. Oh, the word she was trying to get was esophagoduodenal gastroscopy.
I know, right? Some like 6 words come to mind. Before I get forward into the program, I just want to highlight a little bit about Sameir's Unique Me school. Established in 2018, Sameir's Unique Me is an autism educational center that provides a range of educational and clinical services to children with autism spectrum disorder, or ASD, and other learning and neurological disorders. All services are based on applied behavior analysis, ABA, and other evidence-based interventions. The team comprises of, I think, in terms of the founders, we have Miss Angelina Bispati, the founder, Dr. James Ellis, a clinical psychologist, and Dr. Kerry Davis, a speech pathologist. They comprise of the team that makes up the founders. We're going to have a little bit of an introduction on our founders, and I want to ask one of the original members of the Sameir's Uniquely School, Evangeline Virasamy, to come as she first give you a little introduction on Angelina Bispati, who is her sister, so excuse the mix-up, and on Dr. James Ellis, who is the co-founder. Angelina is Evangeline is the head of the home service unit, and she's been with Sameir's Uniquely from the very inception, and she's been working with children with autism since 2011 and has completed intense training with both Dr. James Ellis and Angelina.
Good morning, everyone. How are you feeling after an early morning exercise? Are you ready for a healthy? I hope you are energized and are ready for a healthy snack. Welcome to those who join us not so early because we had a late start. Thanks to everyone for coming out and sacrifice your Sunday morning rest to join us as we observe and raise awareness of autism in Guyana. Honorable Minister of Health, Dr. Frank Anthony, Dr. Harda Prasad, good morning. I am very proud, honored, and it also gives me great pleasure to stand here to introduce and represent three very important persons, and they're very special, in their absence because of unseen circumstances beyond their control. First, the founder and backbone of SUM, the initial for Sameir Uniquely Me, Miss Angelina Virasamy Beshpati. Her dedication and determination as a mother of a child on the spectrum of ASD. For those of us who do not know what or never heard of ASD, is the abbreviation for Autism Spectrum Disorder. Her drive, hard work, toiling, commitment, of whom I'm proudly representing. Sameir Uniquely Me, a school that would have never or might not have been if it was not for one very special and unique child, Sameir, who is nonverbal and on the spectrum of autism. And as the name perfectly spells it out, each child on the spectrum is unique in his or her own special way. My love for Sameir is my inspiration for the path of my career. Secondly, Dr. Jim Ellis, out of Boston, Massachusetts, USA, and co-founder of Sameir Uniquely Me, of whom, if it was not for Dr. Jim, I would not have been standing here on this spot at this forum. Dr. Ellis came to Guyana to train teachers and set programs for special children on the spectrum. In 2010 is when, for the first time, I heard the word autism, when my very dedicated and determined sister took her little boy, Sameir, to be assessed by Dr. Jim and was diagnosed with autism. And so on that note, I speak on behalf of Angelina. Dr. Kerry. She is the speech pathologist for Sameir Uniquely Me, and she resides in Boston, Massachusetts. And so on that note, I speak on behalf of Angelina Beshpati. I am a mother of a child with autism. I work with children with ASD, their parents and teachers. Most of the time, when we think of autism, we think about the things that children with ASD can't do. I think we need to change or rethink the autism spectrum. Working with so many children with autism, I see that autism is a structure of behavior, a spectrum of behavior. On one hand, it can cause children to experience social difficulties, anxiety, obsessive traits, disruptive habits, and on the other hand, it provides children with incredible gifts. For example, memory, focus, details, and visual perception. No two children, as Dr. Hardat explained, experience this spectrum in the same way. I meet children who might be nonverbal. My son Sameir, who also is nonverbal. And I have met children who have high academic skills and are in a galaxy of their own, and who are a mile away from ASD. The I can't or I can of autism. When I was told he will not be able to do that, when they say that my child can't, I say he can. When they say he will struggle, I think of his strength. When they say this will be ugly, I choose to say it could also be beautiful. Children on the autism spectrum move in a different way, but that does not mean there are things that they can't do. They can do most things. I can even throw in a little extra. Their minds can move like lightning in a certain subject. For example, language, spelling words, numbers, shapes, and fine details. But their minds can take a little longer to adapt to social environment. But it does adapt. There are two environments that can be created for a child with autism. The I or you can't do it, and the I or you can do it. The I or you can't do it in this forum. The child is pointed at. The child is pointed at you. Can't do. People stare at the differences and point at the defects. The other is an environment where the stigma was removed and an environment that is stigma-free was created. In many work, I see the stigma holding children back. It's going to require all of us to do something about it, because we all are going to come across someone that is on the spectrum. 1 in 36 children in the United States is diagnosed with ASD, and we have definitely seen an increase for children with autism in Guyana. These children can bring extraordinary value to your life. I worry that our tendency to make kids, to label, to hold them back, is stifling the children with ASD today. So this is where we all can play a role. We have a role in a child's life. I can network. I want to leave this with us. If you are a child or a young person on the spectrum, hear this. Never let a label stop you from what you are capable of. Use the spectrum to create your own label. If you are a parent or a grandparent, your child is special. They are living a focused life. Be confident in your quiet magic. To you, to the you can will bring out their gifts. Raise a child who can be a loyal friend to one of those children. If you are a teacher, create those platforms that can make those children socially visible and respected in the schoolyard and environment. And I promise you will fill your role in a special child's life. Last but not least, I can network. There is nothing like this sight of watching one of their children transform on an orbit from a place of frustration, failure, and shame into a place of confidence. I watch them move from a prison of self doubt to freedom of self belief. I am Angelina Bishpati. Thank you sincerely.
So in the essence of time, I know some persons would have had prior commitments, and we do appreciate you remaining with us. I'll call Miss Sherilyn Booker. She's she's the lead tutor at Sameir's Uniquely Me, and she'll tell you a little bit about the services that the school provides for our students.
And thank you guys to come out supporting Sameir Uniquely Me in help raising awareness for autism. We can't say thank you enough for your support. Some of the services that we are offering are screening for autism, school readiness skills, academic skills, reading, writing, maths, self-care skills, fine motor skills. We also offer after-school help, collaboration with outside teachers. We also have home services, supporting children from ages 2 to 18 with autism. I want to say my encouragement actually to you guys, especially to the parents of children with autism, is to support your child. Do not lock them away. Seek help so that they can be better individuals in society. And as they get the help, it will become easier for you. Thank you very much.
Actually been to the facility and see what exactly goes on, I encourage you to do so. I had the privilege through El Dorado Offshore doing some reading with the children for International Children Reading Day. I think that was the thing. And I was so touched when I went in and I saw the effort and the work that those tutors put in with these children. I felt a sense of accomplishment having been able to add a little bit to what they normally go through or they're normally taught. So I encourage each and every person here, if you're not a parent or a guardian or you never have had the opportunity to go and see what exactly goes on at Sameir's Uniquely Me, make it something to do on your to-do list. So without further ado, I'll ask first Miss Petrula Yan, one of the parents, to come and share briefly her experience with you.
First of all, like just to say how much we appreciate your presence. You being here today, helping to show and raise awareness on autism is very much appreciated, not just by the parents here, but the entire community. And that's exactly why we have done this walk. So I'll share a little bit on my story exactly. So we would have been, I have a 4-year-old son. Earlier, there are certain milestones that a parent can recognize where their child or children are not reaching those milestones. So where we were able to communicate that, my pediatrician is sitting right here exactly. So where we were able to communicate the differences that we're seeing and identifying with our child, that he would have not been able to, meet those goals within that certain time frame. We were able to raise those concerns with our pediatrician, who would have identified the possibility to us that he may be on the spectrum. He was able to share Miss Angelina's contact information and details on the school with us. Since then, we have been able to not just assess him with where he was diagnosed with ASD, we have joined the program. And I'm not saying this just to say that Sameir's Uniquely Me is a great program and that has been able to help my family. We have also reached out to other resources, the Diagnostic Center at CPCE, the Ptolemy program. They are programs that can and will help your child. So I just wanted to show recognition that they are, just raise your concerns. They are resources available, and ultimately it takes a community. The support that I have, I have a few family members that are here present, and those are the exact persons that I depend on. I have a great work community, a great work family. A lot of them that are here and were also participating in the walk. So I just want to share that when you are able to identify certain differences and challenges that your child may not be able to meet as compared to a atypical child or a normal child, communicate those differences. Resources are there that are available. So I just wanted to take the opportunity, show appreciation for every single one of you that are currently here. And yeah, just keep it brief. We appreciate you being here.
I know Dr. Anthony would have indicated to me that he may have to step out. So once again, I want to say thank you very much for coming out and for participating. And I want to say thank you for your commitment that you and the ministry at large will be partnering with Sameir's Uniquely moving forward. And we do look forward to working with you and working with the ministry for the sensitization of autism awareness in this country. I have two more speakers. We have a representative from El Dorado Offshore, who is one of our sponsors. I'm going to ask Ms. Sherry Farrell to come up and just share a few words with you.
Dr. Hardat Prasad, pediatrician at Woodlands Hospital, representatives of Sameir Uniquely Me School, children all, sponsors, special invitees, volunteers, and parents. A special good morning to each of you. Our El Dorado team is delighted to be here with you all today as we come together to raise awareness for autism. We say special thanks to the Sameir Uniquely Me group for inviting us to join on this walk and for all the fantastic work that you have done and you will continue to do to support those living with autism. Today, as we walked from the Promenade Gardens to the National Park, we took another step forward in raising awareness about autism. It shows that we care about those who are living with this condition and that we are committed to supporting them. But there is so much more still to be done. There are many challenges that come with living with autism, and we want to be part of the solution at El Dorado Offshore. At EDO, we believe it is our responsibility to give back to communities and positively impact the lives of people living within it. I encourage all the organizations who are present here or who are listening to join us in supporting initiatives like these. There is so much good that can come from investing in the health and well-being of our Guyanese people. We create a more compassionate and understanding world when we come together to support those in need. We all have a unique opportunity to make a difference and ensure everyone is given fair and equal opportunity. Through collaborations, we can create a more inclusive society where people with autism can thrive and reach their fullest potential. In closing, I want to thank everyone who came out to the walk and who took that extra mile in support of autism awareness. Let us all leave here today committed to making a difference in the lives of those around us.
So we're closing off now, and our last item on the agenda is another testimonial from another parent, Mr. Naresh Miraj, and he's one of the parents for a child that attends Sameir's Uniquely Me.
Prior to my child being diagnosed, or we, as in my family, recognizing that he wasn't at the milestones that he should have been, the word autism was just a word with a little bit of knowledge surrounding it. When my child was about 18 months, I was benchmarking him with my older child. And he wasn't doing the things that he should have been doing, or at least close to the comparative of my older child. So I said to the pediatrician, I said, this child is not really performing as he should. And he was like, they had these amount of words at a certain age that you need to achieve. But he was hitting those milestones easily. He could tell you what a pentagon was, he knew what hexagon primary colors were. But he couldn't ask for his bobo, or he couldn't say while he was hungry, or the life skills element of it was missing. After a while, we carried on with the pediatrician and we went along with it. But then I said, no, I needed to do something different. So we ended up in Barbados. After the first session, I had a different child. He never used to look at you in the face. And when you called for him at least 8 or 10 times, he wouldn't even look at you. We had his ears tested and he was fine. But after the first session in Barbados, it was a different child. We spent 5 days there. The sessions was like about 4 or 5 minutes long. And we came back with a different child. It was a very expensive trip. And sometimes, I just wonder how other parents cope with it. Having a child with an autistic child is not easy. It's not easy financially, and it's not easy mentally. When I was at school as well, there was this child in class. And now thinking back about it in hindsight, he actually got the nickname Stupid Boy, because he couldn't cope with the material, and we used to get some serious lashes back in the days. And this child was ridiculed for his entire school life. I don't wish that on any child now. We've come too far. We've come too far. We have so much resources now in the internet to treat any child differently. We shouldn't treat any persons differently. These children are very gifted. In fact, Einstein was diagnosed with autism. So some of the brightest minds were autistic. So, getting back to after the Barbados trip, we came back to the pediatrician and we fell back into the routine again. Whatever we were taught, we were teaching the child, but it wasn't enough. The pediatrician passed away, and then my wife went to Dr. Hardat, and from the time the child entered his room, he was like, this child is autistic. And that is how we end up at this school. He recommended Angelino. He's been there a few years now, and I have a totally different child. I can actually have a little conversation with him now. He's not where, as a parent, I would like him to be, but I need to accept. But this is a process. It will take some time. It also requires great patience and support. So the message I would like to leave with you here is that when you go back here, just spread the word, tell a friend, tell a relative. When they see a child that's different, don't judge that child. As a parent, you don't need to hide your child. You're very special in your own way. In closing, I was very happy to see the minister here. And I would like to appeal to the Minister of Education, the Minister of Social Services to get involved in this. Let it not just be a talking point, but let us action this. So, beloved President, I implore you to get more involved into this, because every one of our kids, all of our children of this beautiful nation, need to be a part of One Guyana. Thank you.
It has become so important that it is repeated on the same day at 4:30 in the afternoons. So my task now is to invite members of this organization. We'll give you a slot on the radio. I will give you a slot on the radio once per week where you could speak and educate persons about autism. Just like we've been hearing, people should come and become more aware. One of the best ways to get people aware is to get them listening through the television, watching television, or listening on the radio. So just like we've added to our features, Dr. Indira Harry talking about mental health, and it has become so popular, I would encourage you to take up this challenge. Come to us, I could give my information, and we'll create a slot once a week for the interest and the education of autism. Thank you.